Hello, little one. Yes, I know. Everything's very exciting, but it's time to go to bed. I can read you. I'll read you a story out of a book my father used to read to me, and if I have it right, his father read to him. The original Winnie the Pooh book, as written by A.A. Milne. This book is really old. Copyright 1926 by E.P. Dutton Co. and Inc. All rights reserved. Printed in the USA. This is the original, very oldest. Chapter 1, in which we are introduced to Winnie the Pooh and some bees, and the stories begin. Here is Edward Bear, coming downstairs now. Bump, bump, bump. On the back of his head. That's gotta hurt. Behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way. If only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom, ready to be introduced to you, Winnie the Pooh. When I first heard his name, I said, just as you are going to say, but I thought he was a boy. So did I, said Christopher Robin. Then why can't you call him Winnie? I don't, but you said he's Winnie the Pooh. Don't you know what there means? Yes, now I do. I said him quickly. I hope you do too, because this is all the explanation you're going to get. Sometimes Winnie the Pooh likes a game of some sort when he comes downstairs, and sometimes he likes to sit quietly in front of the fire and listen to a story. This evening, what about a story? Said Christopher Robin. What about a story? I said. Could you very, very sweetly tell Winnie the Pooh one? I suppose I could. What stories does he like? I said. What sort of stories does he like? About himself, because he's that sort of bear. Oh, I see. So could you, very sweetly, I said, I'll try. So I tried. Once upon a time, very long ago now, about last Friday, Winnie the Pooh lived in a forest, all by himself, under the name of Sanders. What does under the name mean? Asked Christopher Robin. It means he has a name over the door in gold letters and lived under it. Winnie the Pooh wasn't quite sure, said Christopher Robin. Now I am, said a growly voice. Then I will go on. One day, when he was walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest. And in the middle of this place was a large oak tree. And from the top of the tree came a loud buzzing noise. Winnie the Pooh sat down in front of the tree, put his head between his paws, and began to think. First of all, he said to himself, that buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that, just buzzing and buzzing, without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, somebody's making a buzzing noise. And the only reason for making buzzing noise that I know of is because you're a bee. And he thought another long time and said, and the only reason for being a bee is that I know of is making honey. And then he got up and said, and the only reason for making honey is so I can eat it. So he began to climb the tree. He climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed, and he sang a little song to himself, and he went like this. Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wonder why he does. And he climbed a little further and further and just a little further. By then he had thought of another song. It's very funny thought that if bears were bees, they'd build their nests at the bottom of trees. And being so, if the bees were bears, we shouldn't have to climb up all these stairs. He was getting rather tired by this time, so that is why he sang a complaining song. He knew he was nearly there now, and if he stood on that branch, crack! Oh, help, said Boo as he dropped 10 feet on the branch below him. If only I hadn't, he said as he bounced 20 feet onto the next branch. You see what I meant to do, as he turned head over heels and crashed onto another branch 30 feet below. What I meant to do, of course, it was rather, he admitted as he slid very quickly through the next 6 branches. It all comes, I suppose, he decided as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun around 3 times, and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. It all comes of liking my honey so much. Oh, help. Crawled out to the gorse bush, brushed the pricks from his nose, and began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. Was that me? Said Christopher Robin in an odd voice, hardly daring to believe it. That was you. Christopher Robin said nothing, but his eyes got larger and larger as his face got pinker and pinker. So Winnie the Pooh went round to his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. Good morning, Christopher Robin, he said. Good morning, Winnie the Pooh, said you. I wonder if you've got such a thing as a balloon about you. A balloon? Yes, I just said to myself coming along. I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him. I just said, thinking to myself, thinking of balloons and wondering. What do you want a balloon for? You said. Winnie the Pooh looked round to see that nobody was listening, put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper, Honey. But you don't get honey with balloons. I do, said Pooh. It just happened that you had been to a party the day before, in the house of your friend Piglet, and you had balloons at the party. You had a big green balloon, and one of Rabbit's relations had a big blue one, and had left it behind, being really too young to go to a party at all. And so you had brought the green one and the blue one home with you. Which one would you like? You asked Pooh. Put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. It's like this, he said. When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is to not let the bees know you're coming. Now, if you've got a green balloon, they might think you're only part of the tree and not notice you. And if you have the blue balloon, they might think you're only part of the sky and still not notice you. And the question is, which is more likely? Wouldn't they notice you underneath the balloon, you asked? They might, or they might not. Winnie the Pooh, said Winnie the Pooh. You can never tell with bees, he thought for a moment, said. I shall try to look like a small black cloud that will deceive them. Then you had better have the blue balloon, you said, and so it was decided. And both of you went out with the blue balloon. And you took your gun with you, just in case, as you always did. And Winnie the Pooh went to a very muddy place that he knew of, and rolled in. And rolled until he was black all over. That mud probably isn't very safe if it's got you doing blackface. Anyway, when the balloon was blown up as big as you and Pooh were both holding onto it, onto the string. Let go suddenly, and Pooh Bear floated gracefully up into the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree, about 20 feet from it. Hooray! You shouted. Isn't that fine? Shouted Winnie the Pooh down to you. What do I look like? You look like a bear holding onto a balloon, he said. Not, Pooh said anxiously. Not like a small black cloud in the blue sky? Not very much. Well, perhaps from up here it looks different. And as I say, you can never tell with bees. There was no wind to blow him near to the trees, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach the honey. After a little while he called down to you. Christopher Robin, he said in a loud whisper. Well, I think the bees suspect something. What sort of thing? I don't know, but something tells me they're suspicious. Perhaps they think you're after their honey. It may be that. You can never tell with bees. There was another little silence, and then he called down to you again. Christopher Robin? Yes? Have you an umbrella in your house? I think so. I wish you would bring it out here and walk up and On with it, then look up at me every now and then. Say, tut tut, looks like rain. I think if you did that, it would help the deception we are on which we are. My apologies. The deception which we are practicing on the bees. Well, as you laughed to yourself, silly old bear. But you didn't say it to that. Because you were so fond of him. And you went down for your umbrella. Oh, there you are, called down Winnie the Pooh as soon as you got back to the tree. Well, beginning to get anxious. I discovered that the bees are now definitely suspicious. Shall I put my umbrella up? You said. Yes, but wait a moment. You must be practical. It is important to deceive the queen bee. Deceive is the queen bee. To deceive is the queen bee. You must be practical. My apologies. Yes, but wait a moment. We must be practical. The important bee to deceive is the queen bee. Can you see which is the queen bee from down there? No. A pity. Oh no, if you walk up now with the umbrella saying, tut tut, it looks like rain. And where I can be where I can buy. Yes, what I can by singing a little cloud song, such as the clouds might sing. Go! So you walked up and down and wondered if it would rain. Winnie the Pooh sang the song. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. It makes me very proud to be a little cloud. The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them indeed left their nests and flew all around the cloud as it began the second verse of this song. And one bee sat down on the nose of the cloud for a moment, then got up again. Robin, called out the cloud. Yes? I've just been thinking. I've come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sort of bees. Are they? Quite the wrong sort. So I should think they would make the wrong sort of honey, shouldn't you? Would they? Yes, I think I shall come down. Ow. Lost my place. How? Asked you. Winnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall. Bump. And he didn't like the idea of that. So he thought for a long time, and he said, Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun? Of course I have, you said. But if I do that, it will spoil the balloon, you said. But if you don't, said Pooh, I shall have to let go, and that would spoil me. When he put it like this, you saw how it was, and you aimed very carefully at the balloon and fired. Ow, said Pooh. Did I miss? Yes. You didn't exactly miss, said Pooh, but you missed the balloon. I'm so sorry, he said as he fired again. This time you hit the balloon, and the air came slowly out, and Winnie the Pooh floated down to the ground. But his arms were so stiff from holding on to the string of the balloon all that time that they stayed up straight in the air for more than a week. Whenever a fly came and tilted on his nose, he had to blow it off. I'm not going to think. And I think, but I am not sure, that is why he is always called Pooh. Is that the end of the story? Asked Christopher Robin. That's the end of that one. There are others. About Pooh and me, and Piglet, and Rabbit, and all of you. Don't you remember? I do remember. And then when I try to remember, I forget. That day when Pooh and Piglet tried to catch the heffalump, they did catch it, didn't they? No. Pooh couldn't because he hasn't any brain. Did I catch it? Well, that comes into the story. I do remember, he said. Only Pooh doesn't very well, so that's why he likes having it told to him again, because then it's a real story and not just a remembering. That's just how I feel, I said. Christopher Robin gave a deep sigh, picked up his bear by the leg, and walked off to the door, trailing Pooh behind him. At the door, he said, "Come Coming to see me have my bath? I might, I said. Didn't hurt him when I shot him, did I? Not a bit. He nodded and went to for a moment when I heard Winnie the Pooh go bump, 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 going up the stairs behind him. That's the end of that story. Now go to sleep, little one. You're very precious to me. Good night.